Hello book lovers, welcome back to the Bibliovert channel. My name is Jacqueline, and for today's video, I thought that I would go ahead and read the sequel of books that I started last year and just never got around to reading the second book in the series. So I read 3 books this week. I had hoped to read a few more than that. And one of them technically doesn't even count because I DNF'd it, but that's what we got, so we're going to talk about it. Okay, so this first one, I read the first book back in September of last year, and I really liked it. I had messaged our Patreon girls and was like, I need a little something that's going to hit a little different. So they recommended Twisted Love by Anna Huang, and I really liked it. I was looking back through my notes. I gave it 4 stars. I was pleasantly surprised because I really liked the plot, and I really wasn't expecting there to be much plot, if you get what I'm saying. But I really liked it. I thought it was really good. Definitely check out the trigger warnings though for this book. However, I really enjoyed it. So I also kind of liked the way that it was setting up book 2 at the end of this book, but for some reason I didn't immediately jump on it, which is a huge mistake. So that leads me to quite possibly one of my favorite reads this year so far, might I add, and it is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This is book 2. This follows a different couple from the first one. So this book is like a modern day romance. So there's no fantasy in it at all. But this is about Bridget, who is a princess, and her bodyguard Reese. There's kind of a forbidden romance aspect to it. If you liked Princess Diaries 2, but kind of wanted something a bit more like adult / kind of darker, but like not real, this book is for you. This book right here is for you. It's so good. Okay, so let me just like read out some of the tropes that I wrote down for you real fast. So obviously we have Princess and her bodyguard, grumpy sunshine to the extreme. She is like just super sweet, super caring, thoughtful to everyone. He is very much like touch her and die, look at her wrong and die, super possessive. I hate everyone but you. Secret / forbidden romance, mutual pining. This book is set over a 4-year period, and so it's literally like from when they first met to obviously 4 years later, and there is so much mutual pining, it's not even funny. Lots of forced proximity, obviously because he's her bodyguard, but then lots of slow burn, and it just like, it worked for me. Literally every single aspect of this book worked for me. 10 billion out of 5 stars. I loved it so much. I liked the first one a lot. I absolutely loved this one. 1000% was it. So much so that I went ahead and bought the last 2. I'm not gonna lie. I'm curious to see if I'm gonna like this one. One of the characters in particular just hasn't been my favorite so far throughout the series, but maybe that'll change. This one's Twisted Hate. And then this one kind of got like sprinkled in for the first time in Twisted Games, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. I don't know if I like should skip book 3 and go straight to book 4. I don't know, but I'm really excited about this one. So anyway, I just have been so pleasantly surprised by this series and how much I've loved it. Okay, this next one, y'all, I did it to myself. I did it to myself. I knew better. And yet I still did it anyway. Classic Jacqueline, not being super bright. So last year for the Massive Readathon, I read this book and I didn't like it. I'm looking back at my bullet journal from last year. I'm shocked I gave it 2 stars. I genuinely thought I was only going to give it 1. And I think one of those is from like the pure entertainment factor, that like it wasn't supposed to be entertaining in that way, but like I was entertained by it. But last year I read Crave by Tracy Wolff. Again, did not enjoy it. It's very much Twilight, very much instant love. and just not it for me. But someone told me, hey, Jacqueline, book 2 is so much better. You gotta give it a shot. I made it maybe 20 pages. And it wasn't that there was any event that happened in particular that I was like, oh, I just can't do this. It was all of it. The writing, the thought process, the plot of where things were going. I just couldn't do it. So I was like, I'm not going to torture myself. I'm just going to go ahead and DNF it at literally 20 pages. And the funny thing was, again, I was writing my bullet journal and I had to see how many pages were in this book. And I read the last page and oh my gosh, the like cliffhanger it leaves you on or whatever. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But it didn't even pique my interest enough to want to read it. And give it a shot now that I know where it's going. So I think that this is just not a series for me personally. Unfortunately, I've done my best. It wasn't it. And the interesting thing was I was thinking about this quite a bit because I really have enjoyed the Zodiac Academy books. I need to read the one that just came out like last December. So I think it's like book 7. I've read 6 and I mean, I was addicted. I got so sucked into them. I absolutely am invested in the story. And the funny thing is these books, they kind of fill the same space. They kind of have similar plots or I don't know, themes throughout the book. However, I loved this series and clearly couldn't even make it through book 2, 20 pages of book 2 in that other one. And I was thinking about like why, though they fill the same space, I think this series, the authors have almost made it ridiculous, but they're in on the joke too. Like they are trying to be outrageous and funny and get laughs. And it's worked for my humor. Like I've been able to read it on page and get it and think it's really funny. I can't tell if this series is trying to be serious or not. And I've read it as like, oh, it's kind of trying to be serious like Twilight is. And I think that like I just haven't been able to like grit my teeth and get through it. But I know a lot of people don't like the humor of this series. However, I just think it's absolutely hilarious. And I think that the authors lean into it. So if I had to choose between those two series, this one absolutely 100% would be my recommendation. It's very similar in the sense that like it's a magical school. In this book, they're twins, but neither one of them knew that they had magic until much later on. And they're trying to find their place in the school. This one does start off as a bully romance. The first like 3 books are bully and like it was a lot more than I was expecting. But it's just kind of them trying to figure out their place in the school. But it's not instant love. It's very, I don't know, back and forth. You're trying to figure out who is good, who's not. You love characters, then you hate them. And it just takes you on this wild ride. Very plot focused. The characters are very different, which is very nice. But I've just enjoyed this series a lot more. So if you were kind of hoping to like this one, but you didn't, and you're kind of wanting to fill a similar void to like Twilight or something, I recommend checking out this series. It's really wonderful, in my opinion. Okay, and then the last one, again, last year for the readathon, I read Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller, and I loved this book so much. Just total 5 out of 5 star read. I absolutely ate it up. And the reason why is because the banter was so good. It's so funny. And Alosa as a character, you just absolutely fall in love with her. And she's ridiculous and cunning and so smart and so capable. And you just can't help but rooting for her throughout this entire book. It's just absolutely a masterpiece. So I had really high hopes for Daughter of the Siren Queen, which I actually finished this morning. And I still really liked it. However, I missed the banter a lot. Like a lot. I definitely think this book has more of a plot than this one. But they're both so short that like you can kind of get away with it. And while I enjoyed where this story went, I think I was just missing a little bit of like that special, I don't know, magic that made the first book so good. I mean, it's still like a 4-star read for me, but just didn't quite match the first one in my opinion. I almost wish that they were combined into one larger book. That like some of the things that happened, I don't know, I think it would fit. There's such short books that I think it would have been possible to make it into just one standalone and to still have that banter throughout, maybe draw out some of the romance and different things like that, but to kind of, I don't know, flesh it out more or to make it draw out in the right places or shorten others. I think it would have worked. I do love a good duology, so I'm not opposed to having just 2 books. But I think that it like, I don't know, I was almost wishing that it was 1 book instead of 2. Still absolutely wonderful, but Daughter of the Pirate King just was so good. I will say, I still don't love the covers a whole lot, and that was what kept me from reading Daughter of the Pirate King for like a year and a half. But they're absolutely wonderful books, so funny. So anyway, really enjoyed it. Glad I can finally say that I have finished this duology. But maybe I was hoping for just like a little bit more humor to be dropped into book 2. Clearly this was a very, very short video, but I hope that you enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know what are some sequels that you have yet to get to in the comments down below. I would love to hear some of them. And if you enjoyed this video, I have plenty of other sequels that I haven't gotten to, so I might make a second part. But that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoy it. Feel free to check us out over on Instagram at the Bibliovert Please come slide into our DMs. We're always looking to make new bookish friends. So let us know what books you're reading. We would love to hear about them and chat with you about it as well. We also have a podcast called the Bibliovertpodcast, and we release episodes every single Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play. We primarily do like YA, new adult fantasy, and we'll occasionally sprinkle romance in there, but we have started doing author interviews and it has been a lot of fun. We also have a Patreon, so if you're looking for a bookish community, please feel free to come join ours. We have a chat as well as behind the scenes content and Patreon exclusive episodes every single month. And we also do a book buddy read, and at the end of that month we will do a Zoom date to talk about the book with everyone, and it is just a lot of fun, so definitely check that out as well. But I hope you have a fantastic day, happy reading, and I will see you next time.